Now, I'm lucky enough to be sitting here with the world's most famous drummer and a #1 solo artiste, and it's Phil Collins. Now, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Well, I haven't been up to that much, really. The last few days have been relatively sane because we're on the road, and that means we just play at night. But this will be the 4th gig we've done since Nottingham, Manchester, Glasgow, and before that I was just rehearsing to go on the road, and that also coincided with finishing the album. I was going into the studio at night, having rehearsed during the day, and it got a bit hectic at one point.
Do you find, though, that, I mean, most people must imagine you're a complete workaholic. Do you think that's true?
Yes, well, it is, really. I mean, if you take the definition of the word, I suppose it would be. I just enjoy what I do, you know. I mean, I don't really feel like to earn as much money as possible to get out of doing anything. You know, that seems to be one way of being in this business. You know, you sort of make it as much as you can while you can, and then sit back and enjoy doing nothing. I like to work mainly because I get asked to do very interesting things, different kind of projects. You know, different artists have asked me to produce albums for them. If I want to keep the Genesis thing together, which all the 3 of us do because we enjoy it still, you know, once every couple of years we get back together again to do an album. There's obviously my own thing, which is important, the most important thing to me.
Yeah.
But the production things tend to fit in those holes where there's no other things happening. And they're always, you know, interesting people like Bailey and...
How did that happen, the Bailey thing?
Well, Philip, I met through the horn players, you know, Earth, Wind & Fire horn guys. And because we were touring America on my tour, they invited all the guys from the band down, and, you know, he came by. And because he's a drummer-singer himself, he liked the way that I had presented myself as a drummer-singer. And he was just about to go into the studio doing his first album with George Duke, when he saw my show and thought we'd be a good match, you know. So he said that when he was ready to do his next album, would I consider it? And I said yes. And I was on tour with Robert Plant around the time when he was thinking of it, and so we met up in Los Angeles, and he came down and we talked about doing it in London. And that was it, and we went ahead and did it. And we did it in about 2 months. Because
it's a wonderful video too, because you look very at home being with him.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with videos, you know, I mean, I generally don't like videos.
You're not wearing tights in it, for example, or anything?
And there's no girls with whips and chains and snakes. And
it's really unusual.
I know. Well, this is the thing. See, I mean, videos always have to have, the directors always want to have this concept. You know, they've got to have this, and basically, it's like visual masturbation. They're getting all these things that they want to use in the video, and the poor artist, unless he has control over the thing, gets sucked into it and ends up viewing it and think, well, this has got nothing to do with me or the song. So, I usually, 99 times out of 100, I have the initial ideas. But with this one with Philip, I only had a day because I was doing my album, and I wanted to do a video for it because I knew that without it, it wouldn't have much of a chance, you know, with MTV being as powerful as it is.
Yeah.
That, you know, the record, basically now, records sink or swim on the strength of the video. So I said, we'll do it in a day, I'll give you a day. And we came together with Jim Ukich, who does some of my videos and Genesis videos, and he said, listen, why don't we do a video of a video, you know, so like filming like the old Hard Day's Nights type of thing, when you're actually in a television studio and it's the day's events leading up to the show, which means that the cameras are rolling all the time, and there was very little, you know, staging involved, which meant that it was much more spontaneous and a lot quicker.
Now, how do you find working in the States, though? I mean, with the whole thing of video being so powerful, and also I think I was in America last week, and it seems that it's very different for bands and for solo artists over there.
Well,
here, they're treated very differently.
I think, I mean, without going back to the video thing, I mean, you know, which we don't want to sort of stay on too long, but I mean, the video, it seems that you can get by, if you've got a good video, you can get by with an average song. And that is kind of a shame, because there's a lot of good music that because the guys, A, haven't got the finance, or B, haven't, you know, the videos aren't strong enough, they haven't got the girls with the whips, you know, they might not get shown. So it's almost like a visual radio, which is, I suppose, what it is. You know, the same things get repeated once every 1 or 2 hours.
Do you think it's difficult if bands are revolting looking now?
Well, that's when the girls with the whips come in, you see.
To cover up for the group.
To cover up, yeah. I mean, I think it's probably...
Were you surprised that Against All Odds was such a huge, massive hit?
Very surprised. The way it was done, I mean, the song was around when I did Face Value, you know, my first solo album, and I just didn't use it because I didn't think it was as good as the other songs. And I didn't need another slow song, so it was one of those ones where, well, maybe next album. Then the next album came around and I'd written new stuff, so I didn't want to use it. And then I was on tour with Genesis in America, and Taylor Hackford, who directed Against All Odds, rang us up and said, would I write a song? And I said I couldn't, you know, I don't write on the road really. But I've got a song, actually, a ballad, you know, that maybe it would suit you, and if you like it, I'll rewrite the words. Gave him the tape and he really liked it, so he came back and we saw the film, the rough cut of the film. So I could see what the thing was about and what I had to write about. And I had a day off and we flew to New York, and I couldn't produce it, so I got Arif Mardin to do it, who I'd met through my albums. I mean, you know, we came in for a couple of hours, got a real piano player, I didn't do it, got a real piano player to do it, got the strings in, went away, went off on tour again, came back, another night off in LA, went into the studio, I'd written the words, did the drums, did the vocals, went away. He'd send me a cassette and said, you know, what do you reckon of this mix? I'd say, it's all right, a bit less this, a bit more of that.
And that
record comes out, it goes #1, you know. So it's extraordinary how haphazard it was from the way I usually work, you know. I usually try and take a bit more care.
Do you think that when you're doing solo stuff, it gives you a chance to be sort of more poppy and funky and hip,
Just that kind of
than
thing,
stuff with Genesis, the things you do with Genesis?
Well, being solo just gives me the opportunity to do what I want, really, which is be pop and be funky and be hip. No, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. My musical tastes vary from, I mean, from things like Earth, Wind and Fire to things like Stephen Bishop to things like The Tubes, and all kinds of strange things that I listen to at home, Weather Report. And it's not as if one type of music. I mean, I'm sure Genesis fans think I go home and listen to the Floyd and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Yes records. You know?
And wear an anorak.
Yeah, and a sort of fishing hat. Yeah. But no, not so. I mean, I listen to all kinds of stuff, so that is reflected in the music I write. So, okay, you'll get a track like Sussudio, you'll get a track like Against All Odds, you'll get a song like I Don't Care Anymore, you'll get all kinds of stuff, because that's what I listen to, you know.
Which artist would you most like to produce now? Who next?
Well, I've had some very interesting offers. I've had Liza Minnelli, Ronnie Spector,
Gosh.
Tina Turner, Al Jarreau. I've had some very interesting offers. Def Leppard.
Oh,
but
Def Leppard?
Yeah. But unfortunately, time being what it is, I can't do all these things. I'm probably one of 10 producers they ask, mind you. I don't say they're all waiting at my door. But nevertheless, you know, I've had the option to do them, and because of time, I haven't been able to. But I think what I would like to do is, apart from doing Eric Clapton's next album, which the new one's about to come out, but I really would like to do more work with him, because he's a good mate of mine, is to do an album with Stephen Bishop, which sounds a little middle of the road, because a lot of people think of Stephen Bishop as being a balladeer.
You're making funk and hip.
And poppy, yes. I'll try my best.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Paul.